like a .59. I mean, it was pretty much like the whole semester I got all F's. Right, it's tight. So scholarships that I was working on for track at Carthage College, I wanted to go to Jackson State down in Mississippi where my mom went. Like, all that's out the window. And I spent the rest of my senior year, I ended up transferring to North and just like couldn't play sports because I didn't have no time and I had to take extra classes. So I'm in school, taking all my required classes, plus doing ALC, plus doing online. This is before like online school was actually like official. Ended up graduating, so worked that out. But again, like my senior year and pretty much the rest of like my freshman year in college, or what would have been my freshman year in college, I took a year off because I needed to just breathe. I was trying to figure out, okay, what's my purpose? What's life like? And there's some principles that I learned through my mom passing away, but also through just dealing with my pops. Like everybody, each and every one of us deals with pain. We just all deal with it some different way. Some people deal with pain, they smoke, some people drink, some people have sex, some people cut, some people just like check out. Like you might not do all that other stuff, but you just like, man, I'm good. What's up, brother? How you doing? Good to see you. We all have pain. And so one thing is like we have pain, but then also like other people have pain. So my pops, he didn't know how to parent. Like he had no idea what to do. But I couldn't see that because I'm in the middle of my stuff. I was too busy thinking about my stuff to be worried about his stuff. But I think that translates a lot into life. Like sometimes we're so caught up in our stuff that we can't think about the person next to us. And rightfully so. Like we all got to figure it out for ourselves. But if I'm so worried about you, or if I'm so worried about me, and you're in class like struggling, like I can't help you. I can't even attend to your needs or to notice like, man, you look kind of down. Like if you're like a chipper or cheery person like every day, and then one day you just like straight face like, nah, I'm not doing it. Like if I'm so caught up in myself, I miss that. And you sitting there like, hey, you don't see me? Like this is not my normal personality. So that's a couple things that I learned. The other thing I learned too is like, even though my mom passed away, like now as a 31-year-old, as a dad, like I have to use everything in the process that I've gone through to push me to the next level. So I told you I'll tell you a little bit about what I do. So I work at a foundation. I work at a foundation where literally we give about $76 million out a year to schools, to organizations, to companies who want to make Minneapolis or the greater metro Minneapolis a better place. How did I get there? I barely graduated high school. I got some college. And I don't have any like super fancy degrees, and I didn't come from Orono in a big old mansion house. I just busted my tail. Like my last year in school, I knew if you don't graduate, it's gonna be tight. How many of you guys are what grade is it? 11? Okay. So how many of y'all are not on track for graduation, if you be honest? Okay. So everybody's like straight up, you good. How many, like there might be a few classes you don't really know about? Nobody want to be honest? Everybody good? Mm-hmm. Everybody. That's what I'm talking about. That's why you're at it. So, what I noticed though, like think about your friends though. Some of y'all know some people who they like, yeah, we about to graduate next year. It's going to be what's up senior year. And it's like, dude, you got like 26 credits. Right, you know somebody like that, right? I think about like, you gotta be able to think about something bigger than you in order to get you to the next level. So, you guys want to go to college?
Yeah.
Okay. Where you guys want to go?
Anoka.
Well, from
Where?
Anoka.
Anoka.
Clark Edwin.
Okay. Clark.
Howard.
My cousin, she's here for the summer. All right. What about you? Where you want to go? You know yet? Just a random possibility. No, nothing. Okay. Do you? Even if you, I think college is like one option, but it's not the option. So like, I know people who go to trade schools, they come out making dough. Carpenters, plumbers, nurses, Like nurses make bread. My aunt, she killing it, and she work whenever she wants. But I think about whatever that next level is for you, you gotta figure out like what can you do now, especially juniors, to make sure that you're prepared for the next spot. So senior year is coming up. It's the end of the school year. Don't take the whole summer to just kick it. Like you should kick it, definitely. Like, but don't kick it the whole summer. Like you might want to refresh, cause you know what happens. Summer's off, you ain't touched the book, and then you come back like, ooh, I do not remember these equations. Ooh, I don't really know. And then you got people like Ms. Kimmett who's like, I'm gonna give you a little bit of break, but I'm gonna need you to get it a gear. The other thing I think is like, where do you want to be 10 years from now?
Have my own store.
Have your own store. What type of store?
Clothing store.
Clothing store. Why clothing store?
I just feel like clothing is kind of touches a lot of youth, especially, and that's kind of what I'm going to be wanting to go to school for, is youth development.
Dope.
And also business finance.
Mm-hmm.
And just clothes, I feel that it kind of builds a person, and if I can basically have a system that can make kids feel more comfortable, even though they don't have the type of funds to wear the latest Jordan or the Nike outfit that's out,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of use the resources that they have and have somebody come in and kind of change whatever they have into something that's more comfortable.
That's what's up. Anybody else? What do you want to do 10 years from now? Just an idea. Doesn't have to be in stone. 10 years from now, what do you think you want to do?
I'm not sure.
Not at all. Not even like a possibility. Okay. What about you?
I don't know, but I want to be a nurse.
You gotta talk up, sorry.
Nurse?
A nurse? Why a nurse? You wanna help people?
Yeah.
You like blood?
Do I like what?
Blood?
No.
Okay, you better get used to it. What about you? What do you want to do 10 years from now, maybe? In the league? What league? NFL. What position? Okay. So I think about like all those things. I didn't know what I wanted to do either. I thought I just wanted to work with students. And then I realized I didn't. And then I realized I do. You know what I mean? Like I go back and forth. So I work pretty much for like a corporate. I work for a nonprofit, but it's very corporate-like. So I work downtown in the IDS building. Fridays I get to dress down, but like most days I'm in like a suit and tie, dressed up, whatever. But I realized like I have a passion for young people. I also have a passion for business, and so I think I like to build stuff. I like to create stuff. But I had to figure out one, like, okay, here goes the possible end goal, and then I had to work backwards. So like, let's take the clothing store. So I think about if you're having a clothing store, you're gonna need some capital, you're gonna need some relationships, you're gonna need kind of the business acumen. Doesn't mean you have to go to school, but you're gonna need to know and talk to some people who have done it before, maybe, so you can kind of avoid some of those pitfalls. Going to the league, like, you kicking with people right now trying to be on the same thing you're on? Yeah. Okay. You know anybody in the league? Okay. You know any college athletes? Okay. So, high school workouts, NFL workouts, two totally different plans. High school workouts, college workouts, two totally different plans. Like as a junior right now, you should be on like whatever the college athletes are on. That's what you should be on. What position you play? Corner, right? So you need to find you somebody, even if it's like legit, just on Twitter. Like matter of fact, you should know somebody who knows somebody that's like, hey, I work at a college, or I know college athletes, and be like, can I work out with you? Now you might get a couple no's because they like, I don't want to mess with this little dude, and you gotta have your own car and transportation, all that stuff. But I just think about like, we don't think about the steps that we need to take in order to get to where we want to get to. We just think about, oh yeah, I want to have X amount of dollars. Oh, I want to own this crib. Like, what did you want to do in high school?
I want to be a lawyer, probably.
Dope. Yeah. And why did you decide not to be a lawyer?
Well, actually, I wanted to be a teacher too, but I think I've told these guys this before. All my friends and my family said I would be the worst teacher ever because I did not have any patience at all. They were like, you should never do that. So I went to school, I got my undergrad in history, and I thought I would go to law school, but I worked at a law firm for a couple of years in Chicago, and I hated it because I hated being in the office, and it just wasn't nearly as interesting as I thought it was going to be. So I went back to be a teacher, and look it, I'm the best ever.
But that's real though. Like, I used to work for an organization called Young Life, and it was our job to not be, and you were here last year, weren't you? Okay. So like it was.
No, not weekend.
Oh, okay.
Were any of
saying, I
y'all here when
recognize-
Jesse was here last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I felt like I recognized somebody, but
Yeah, he would.
so I worked for an organization called Young Life, basically an outreach organization. One of the main reasons why I worked with them is I didn't want to be in the office all day. Like me in the office, we just don't get along. Now it's been a struggle, like to be in the office now, but I have opportunities to get out and to do stuff. But I think it's also like I want to make $100,000 a year. There's only a couple avenues legally that I know I can make $100,000, and so working at the job that I work right now is like gets me like that much closer. And then if the next promotion that I get that I'm up for, that'll get me to 100K. So I had to figure out how to balance it out. Like I can't be like, man, y'all be tripping, man. Like you just gotta make it work. Now they do trip a lot, all the time. But I think for me it was just like I gotta figure out how to get like how to do whatever I want to do in order to get to where I want to get to. So again, I'll tell you a little bit about what I do. So we again are a community foundation. I work. So we do it two different ways. On one side, what we call the house, people who have means give us money as a tax donation, as a charitable gift, and say, hey, I care about schools, I care about employment, I care about community or something. Can you give this money to the community? And $76 million goes out a year doing that. The other side of it is when they give us money, we have to tax them because it's a fee on everything. The fee, the money that we tax them on, we make sure that, and that's like a good like $6 million, that specifically goes to the community. So like, I'm trying to think, we don't get into too much out here. Anybody live on the north?
Used to.
Okay. Anybody familiar with North at least? Have you ever heard of an organization called NEON? Northside Economic Opportunity Network, Harvest Prep. Okay, I'm trying to think. What other schools did we get to? Hiawatha Academy. Yeah, I'm like all charter stuff. Sojourner Truth, yep, Sojourner Truth Academy right off 38th and something. Yeah, there you go. So we give to organizations to make sure that they have what they need in order to run. So like technically Brooklyn Center High School could apply for a grant, bless you. But like how many, let's just be real, how many people of color or just black folks do you know that like give out money for a living? Exactly. So when people see me, they're like, man, you do what? And I'm like, oh, we give out money. They're like, what? Let me get $1. But I had to put myself in a position in order to educate folks about this. Like, one, I make a decent living. Two, I help the organization stay connected to community. I live on the north side. I grew up on the north side. I have a house right off 31st in Sheridan. So when something happens in a community, like I usually hear about it, one, because I'm super connected, I'm part of the neighborhood watch and all that stuff. But two, like whenever the community is like, hey, or the foundation's like, hey, we want to give money. Do you know anybody? I'm like, yeah. I went to school with them. Or, hey, I know these people. But also like athletes, they give out money all the time. Larry Fitzgerald, Rasheed Hageman, like people from the community that care about people like y'all. Like I help make those connections, and I make a decent living. All because I just didn't want to work in an office. Like, so you got to know what you want to do, or have an idea, or know what you don't want to do. Like I never wanted to be a lawyer. It's just too much work. It's too much studying, too much reading. You got to take too many tests, too many degrees. That just wasn't me. I love teachers, but I have to fire on y'all. Like y'all be doing too much sometimes. Like so I can do this and come and talk to you or engage with students, and then be like, you know what? That's Miss Kimmy's problem. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk to you about. Just tell you a little bit about my story, and then tell you what I do. If you have any questions about anything,
I have one.
go for it.
So for the people that you give money to, what are the steps that they have to take to get that?